For about 2 hours, I was just lying down on my couch, scrolling through Instagram and TikTok, knowing that I have things to do. But I just sat there and I just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Just like, yeah, I know I should be doing something else productive, but I wasn't. And my mind just kept telling me, it's okay. You can do it later. Don't worry about it. And I don't know why. Like, I just couldn't get myself out of that trance of just coming off my phone and doing what I needed to do. You've been lied to your whole life. Your mind is keeping you weak. Your mind has secret powers. And in this video, I will show you how to unlock them and become the best version of yourself. I was listening to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. When I first listened to this book, I thought it was more of a book, like an exercise type of book, or just like, like a physical type of book. But when I listened to it for a second time, it was more of a mindset book. It's like change the way you think. And if you can change the way you think, anything is possible. And these are the notes that I took from that book and compiled it together to give to you, to give you some motivation, to give myself some motivation, to know that anything that we put our mind to, we are able to achieve it. Your mind is a mental toolbox. Your mental toolbox development requires practice and repetition. Every day you're at war with yourself, you versus you. That's the only thing that really matters. Like, you can't be thinking about other people, what other people are doing. That's irrelevant. Just think about yourself and how you can just better yourself. Your mind has a tactical advantage over you. It knows your fears and insecurity. Who knows you better than you? You. Nobody else can say, "Oh, I know you better." No, you know yourself better than anything. Or I should say, your mind. Your mind always knows. Like they say, "Oh, my mind's playing tricks on me." Yeah, it's your fears and your insecurity tapping in. In order to overcome your fears and insecurities, repetition. Repetition is key. This is not a challenge to make you feel better, but it's to make you do better. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. You always got to say to yourself, I'm going to finish when I'm finished. Not, oh, I'm tired. I'll do this tomorrow. When you start doing that, procrastination kicks in and it starts to compound itself. It's like more procrastination happens and then some more. Denial is the ultimate comfort zone. No, you got to get out that comfort zone. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Humans change from their study of habits and stories. The other day, I was telling my son a story of when I burnt my face. So I put hot or wet hot dogs in the hot oil and it splashed up and hit me in my face. Worst day of my life because I had a birthday party going to. So I told him this story because he likes to go around the stove and I didn't want him to go around the stove. So I'm like, hey, listen, these things could burn you. And when I brought back up that story, I said, hey, remember what daddy told you when he was younger? His own words, he told me the same story that I told him about staying away from the stove, especially when it's hot. If you ever are struggling with a new concept, try and tell yourself a story or ask the person to tell you a story so that you can remember it. Like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. She went to their house, she slept on their beds. It was too rough, too soft, and just right. Same thing with the porridge. When people tell you a story, it's easier for you to remember, or something of habit. Like if you continue doing it over and over again, it gets easier to do it. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline keeps you in the race. You ever get motivated to do something like, yeah, I'm going to the gym, and then you end up don't going? On the flip side, discipline, you say, I'm waking up every morning, I'm going to the gym, whether I like it or not, rain or shine, I'm in the gym. 30 minutes, hour, 45 minutes, whatever it may be. That's what discipline is. Don't let anything stand in your way of completing the mission. Be obsessed with success and let nothing hold you back. Negative feelings are internal desires to change. It can signal that you want something to change within yourself, motivating you to grow and improve. So if you're getting that negative buildup inside of you, that's not the reason why you stop. You say, I wonder what's going on inside me internally. This is probably new territory for me, but it's not a reason for you to stop. It's a reason for you to keep going. Massive change is coming. Think of yourself being a seed. A seed you planted into the ground, and then over time, the seed has to open up and start sprouting its stem, right? So think of yourself being a seed, that negative energy being a seed to get you to burst up and come out of the dirt. Tell the truth during self talk, even if it hurts. Call yourself out. Yo, if you know that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you gotta look in the mirror and call yourself out. Like I got a big mirror here, and I just look at myself and say, Dean, you know you're supposed to be making these videos. Come on, get to it. Like, so I don't know what it is, but when you just see yourself talking to yourself, it's like it just gives you that energy to be like, yo, I have to do this. Like, I gotta get through this. I need to get this done. Use the bathroom mirror as your accountability mirror. So if you don't have a standalone mirror, just use your washroom mirror. That's fine. To help your mind find the path of least resistance, use sticky notes to create reminders. Sometimes I'm having anxiety attacks and I just have sticky notes everywhere telling me to just pause and breathe, catch my breath so that I can just get back to like a calm level. Even if you need to remember to do something, just put sticky notes everywhere. Like, stop trying to pile everything up in your head to remember. Just use sticky notes, put it somewhere where you it's visible for you to see, and then use that as reminders. Not all physical and mental limitations are real. A lot of the things that we think are real are not. Like, it's just our mind playing tricks on us once again. Like when we were younger, some of us thought like there was monsters under our bed, but it was just our fears playing tricks on us. Like we'd see a shadow and be like, oh my goodness, but in actuality, it isn't anything. Like it's just our mind trying to putting up that defense mechanism and be like, yeah, that's something you should be afraid of. Get under your sheets, like, you know? Or for me, it was like leaving my feet uncovered or hanging off the bed. Like for the longest time, I used to be afraid to do that. And it's because I let my mind get the best of me and tell me, like, yeah, this is something you should be afraid of. But no, not all physical and mental limitations are real. The exercise I want you to do is write down all the things that make you uncomfortable or you hate doing and do one of them every day. If you keep doing something every day, don't you think you're going to get better at it? Don't you think it's going to become easier for you, or it's going to be something that you just subconsciously do? Like imagine doing 10 push-ups every day for a year straight. You're just going to wake up and just naturally do it. It's the same thing like riding a bike. You don't know how to ride it at first, but as soon as you get on and you keep trying and trying and trying, eventually you know how to ride the bike. You start doing tricks. You start doing the most of the bike. Treat yourself, your everyday habits like you picking up a new bike. Same thing like this book back here, the Financially Fit Activity Book. For example, somebody that doesn't like to budget. You have this book here. Every day you do your budget to make sure you're on budget. You do an exercise to make sure being able to manage your money. If you're interested in getting a sample of this book, I left a link up above and also in the description for you to get a sample. The more often you become uncomfortable, the stronger you become. Let's use the gym again. If you're in the gym and you're on the bench press, you start with, say, 50 pounds and you're struggling to do it. But if you consistently go to the gym week to week, that 50 pounds is going to eventually become easier for you to do because you did the reps over and over again. Doing the small things that make you uncomfortable will help you become strong. If you do it once today and then once in like 4 or 5 months, it's not going to hit the same way. You got to be consistent when you're doing these things, especially uncomfortable things. That's the only way you're going to really see growth. Going back to the seed analogy, do you think a seed, if it stays in the ground and doesn't grow its root, minus, I'm talking about like let's talk about a flower here. Do you think it's going to become a flower by staying in the dirt? No, it has to come above ground sometime or another. And it takes its slow time coming up. Same way you need to be applying yourself. Get over the victim mentality. You have to triple down on your weaknesses. For the longest while, it plagued me to read books because I'm dyslexic. Words are jumping all over the place. I'm seeing it backwards. I'm reading stuff 15 times over again. But how am I supposed to get better at reading? I'm supposed to let that stop me? No, I just got to fight through it and just keep going. Because if I let dyslexia win, then I wouldn't be able to read books. I wouldn't be able to grow my knowledge. Yeah, there's other ways to consume, but I wanted to use books. I wanted to take a weakness and make it stronger. Find strength when there is no strength around. You got to dig deep in yourself. You got to have something like a gratitude jar or an accomplishment jar and keep all those things there, or even a journal just noting down all the positive things that you're able to do. Don't be afraid to just journal to yourself or write things down of things that you've done. Too often, a lot of us are not writing down stuff that we have accomplished. We kind of just let that fall back behind us, and it's just like, oh yeah, this happened, and then that was it. How are you so? How are you supposed to remember these things? You have to write it down somewhere. You got to keep it somewhere, a collection somewhere. When you're weak, you need strength. You go to that gratitude jar, you go to your accomplishment jar, whatever it may be. Everything in life is a mind game. Imagine your head has this big maze and you're literally just trying to navigate through it. That's what life is. Life is not just cut and dry. It's not the Truman Show. It's not the same thing day in and day out over and over again, where your neighbor says hi to you 7 a.m. on the dot. Life doesn't work that way. Life is all about ups and downs. Don't let the negatives get you down. Figure out, how can I turn this negative into a positive? You got to see that there's light at every end of the tunnel. You are playing against yourself. Your mind searches for the easier path. Always remember, it's you versus you, not you versus Tom, John, Bob, whoever it may be. Always think in terms of yourself. When you start competing against other people, that's when you start to try to adopt the way they're doing things instead of the way you do things. Good news, all bad things come to an end. I stopped scrolling on my phone and I'm making this video now because I said, you know what? I just didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel like doing anything, but I said, you know what? I got to get out of this. Somebody needs to hear this. And when I say somebody, I'm talking about you. You needed to hear this. You needed that motivation to just get up and say, yo, I'm going to go do what I need to go do. Like, I can't be sitting here sulking about, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. No, you got to get up and go and do what you need to do. That's why I'm making this video. I'm here to inspire you, to make you a better person, to make myself a better person. If I don't make this video, who's gonna make this video for you? At the end of the day, I know what I need to do. You know what you need to do. Make sure you subscribe. Anything you do, I'll perform everyone. Now, I know I said earlier it's you versus you. Don't compete with other people. But what I mean is, if you're putting in your 150% and you say, "Yo, I'm winning this race," don't say I'm winning this race to beat this person. I'm winning this race to beat to tell myself I'm capable of doing it. I'm gonna make sure that I'm number one. You're striving to be number one. Yeah, there's gonna be competition along the way, but don't do things the way that they're doing it. Do it the way you need to do it. Like, say it's your first time running a marathon. Maybe you didn't train and you're like, yo, I'm bust. Like, I can't do this. That's fine. But now you know, okay, if I want to be better next time, what do I need to do? I need to train. So you're going to train and you're going to try to beat your last time. Now that you have your last time, you have that last time, you say, I'm going to try to beat that time. Maybe not, I want to beat that time and make sure I get first place this time. It's not, I want to beat that person. You want to say, I want to get first place. So now your mindset is beat my time and get first place. Push hard when you want to quit the most. It will help you sharpen your mind. Do your best when you're least motivated. When I heard that last line, do your best when you're least motivated, I was like, oh, makes sense. Then it made me think of like Michael Jordan. It was the playoffs, the championships, and the man was sick. The man had the flu, and he still got up and said, yo, it's like, yo, I'm like shivering, but yo, the man still went out and bust ass. Like, if Jordan can literally play through a flu, imagine what you could do if you said, you know what, I don't feel like doing this right now, but I'm gonna get it done. Same thing, like if you're looking for that body that you want, that you've always wanted, that business you want to start, maybe it's writing a book. If you're not motivated at the time to do those things, that's the time you should start. Because the moment you start, guess what's gonna kick in? Momentum. And you're like, yo, I got this, I can do it now, like, you know? So don't stop yourself because you're not motivated to do it. Motivation is just that spark to get you going, but it's not always going to be there. If you really truly want to do something or get something done, you just got to keep going. You need to get to the point when you miss something, it bothers you. It genuinely upsets you. That means that you're in the right direction. Like you're growing. If it's something that you do all this the same time every time and there's no change, that's not a good thing. You got to say, yo, I did 20 minutes on the treadmill. No, you want to say, I want to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. Like, that has to bother you that you actually stopped. Like, you know, you can do more, but then you stop yourself from actually doing it. This shows your determination and your desire to achieve a goal. Give yourself permission to be vulnerable with yourself. If you allow yourself to become weak, you can potentially become stronger. The other day, I heard somebody talking on Instagram. They said you have to get weak before you can become strong. And you know, you just get slapped in the face when you just hear something that just really makes sense to you. But it's so true. If you're unable to do a 10K run, how do you think you become stronger? You got to practice. You got to actually try to do the run. That's the only way you're going to become stronger. Like they say, what don't kill you make you stronger. You can't become good at something right off the bat. Some are naturally gifted and yeah, they get it. Like for me, drawing pictures. I used to suck at drawing well, I still do, but when I was a kid, I got better and better at drawing pictures. I used to draw Bart Simpson, Ninja Turtles, Super Mario, not Super Mario, but Toad. And I got better over time at drawing these things. But if I didn't continue to work on it, there's no way I was going to get better at it. Visualize, paint a picture as to what success looks like. Don't let anybody tell you what success is. You define what your success is. Only you can tell yourself what success is. Learn to calm your heart rate and thoughts to maintain focus and control, especially in challenging situations. Imagine being, let's say, a writer. You're writing a book and you just get so frustrated. You're like, ah, I can't do it. Like, you know, that's when you need to take a break, calm down, and just breathe. Just like my son, he gets so frustrated. And I'm just like, Shiloh, just breathe. Just. And when he does that, he actually calms down. And it's something that we should practice more. I don't think a lot of us breathe correctly. Like, I find myself, I'm a very shallow breather, and I'm trying to be more conscious of how I breathe. Like I don't care who hears it, but I need to do that to just make sure that I'm in a calm state, my heart rate's at a good level. Another thing I want you to do is keep a record of your accomplishments. So I mentioned that earlier. Get yourself like a jar, right? Accomplishment jar in there. Anything that happened before or that happened in your present life that you can remember, write that down and put that in the jar. So when you are weak and you need strength, you got that jar right there, ready to just, zoop. Oh yeah, I remember when I did this. Oh yeah, I can keep going. I can keep going. That's what you need to do. Like, you know that story, the little engine that could? I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I can do it. Think of yourself like the littlest engine that could. This will help you to remember what you have overcame. For me, an example was reading. Reading was challenging for me growing up. I went to a special program. They helped me develop my reading skills. My reading skills were shot, like they were just garbage. But I went to this class. I don't know what this lady did, but she just made me get into reading. And I was like, okay, I can actually read better. I graduated from that little class and I felt good about myself. A couple years after, I actually got interested in reading this not novel. I guess it was novel. I don't know what you want to call it, but anywho, it was Goosebumps, and I actually took a liking to read that book. Like, I didn't let the dyslexia stop me from reading. I didn't say I hated reading. I just was picking up the books. I was like, yeah, oh, this is cool. Where I had like a bunch of friends where we would all get Goosebumps books and talk about the books that we got. Another thing that was challenging for me was Mega Man 2. That was my favorite video game growing up. I played that game religiously for hours. I took books. This was when I was younger. I took the books that my mom bought me and I used that to draw the code patterns so that I could get to a certain level that I was at to try and beat this game. I put the time and effort into this game and I eventually beat the game. Measure your activity and try to beat your best. When you come close to failure, reach into your accomplishment jar and give yourself fuel to keep going. You'll need this to overcome pain and boredom and or self-doubt. When you have that measurement there, it's going to get hard. It's going to get tough, but you just got to keep going. Especially when you're like just bored out your mind about something, you're like, yo, I don't want to do this. Boredom is something that I find like a lot of words that we learned in the English language, it could mean something bad, but why not switch that around and make it something good? Like if you are bored at doing something, like say you're playing a video game and you're trying to beat the same level over and over again, you eventually become bored, right? But that means, okay, if it's boring, that means I got to keep going, because if I don't keep going, I'm not going to get to the next level. Think of your life like a video game. If it's boring, it's like, yo, if you want to get to the final boss and then beat the boss, it's going to be boring, yes, but that's what life is. Like you have the ups, you have the downs, and then you have the boring times. Journal when feeling one of these emotions and write how much it makes you feel to better understand and overcome it. If you're bored, you're in pain, the self doubt, write it down. You could even do something where you're having like a dialogue between yourself, where you're the future self and your current self. Taking notes, like one line you talking, next line future self talking. Self talk doesn't mean you're crazy. It's a good thing. You need to talk to yourself, because what's playing tricks on you? Your mind is to protect you, but you got to say, yo, you're not protecting me. You're just trying to make me a little house mouse, like just stay quiet and stuff. Like, no, you want to get to the next level of being the greatest version of yourself, you got to do these things. It's all tricks that our mind is playing on us. One must shift from a fixed mindset to an open one to overcome challenges. For example, we change our car, we change our house, we change our clothes, we even change our hair. Why is it we can't do that when it comes to our mindset? Why is our mindset the only thing that we don't touch? We think one way and it's like it's that way or no way. No, you have to be open to things. Three things in life that's guaranteed: change, taxes, and death. Those are the only three things that are guaranteed in life. But you're always trying to fight it. Stop trying to outsmart yourself. You have to change. That's how you grow. It's the same way you were a baby. You changed from peeing in a diaper to peeing in a toilet, right? From wearing diapers to wearing underwear. Like it's the same concept. Like you got to stop thinking there's one way or no way. No, there's multiple ways to do things. But if you stay in that stuck closed mindset, you're just going to have a miserable life. So accept change to grow, because if you don't accept the change, you're not going to grow. When your mind says no or stop, that's when you need to keep going. There's a little rule to help you when your mind just says no, and that's the 40% rule. You're only working at 40%. You are in a battle with yourself. You have 60% more left in your tank, and you have to find it within yourself to just keep going. This will not work if you're competing against someone else, as they have their own way of doing something, and you have not trained for that. It's important to train our mindsets to overcome obstacles. Your mind gives you feedback in a form of pain, exhaustion, fear, and insecurity. It encourages us to stop before risking it all. When I had a trainer, when we first started, anytime I said, I can't do it, he said, yes, you can. Just keep going. For example, he's like, all right, do 10 pull ups. First time, I did it. He's like, okay, do 10 push ups. First time, I did it. When I was done, he's like, all right, do 10 more pull ups. I'm like, what? Right there, that's my mind saying, nah, that's too much. I was like, what? He's like, yo, do it. And I was like, bro, I can't. Like my arms. Like he's like, yo, do it. So I was like, okay. That's when the burn started to kick in. I was just like, oh, the pain kicked in and the insecure. Well, I felt insecure because I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to do this. This is embarrassing. But it also was painful. Once I was done that, he's like, do 10 push-ups. I was like, what? I was like, bro, I can't. He's like, yo, do it. And he's like, you can still do it. You're not operating at your max. I did the 10 push-ups. You know what the man told me again? Two more reps of each, the pull-ups and the push-ups. I was like, bro, I can't do it. Like I'm thing. Like my arms are noodle. He said, no, you got to keep going. Even like he helped me, and like I got through it. Next time I went, I was able to do a bit more than the last time. I didn't finish, but I did better than the last time. And that's literally our mind telling us no. Like it sees something that's we're not used to, and it's like, oh, defense time, and it's like, no, that's when you gotta push through, just punch it and go right through it. You're only operating at 40%. You could actually do 60% more. That's more than what you just did. If you keep pushing yourself, it makes you stronger mentally. But if you give up at 40%, you're not going to become strong mentally. You have to push through. Once you understand you have 60% more to give, stretch your pain tolerance and let go of your identity and all your limiting stories. so that you can get to 60%, 80%, 100%. Start just by adding 5% each time. If you get to doing 10 push ups, then the next time you do 11 push ups, then you do 12 push ups, then you do 15, then 20 until you hit that like absolute max. But you won't know until you push yourself. You say, yeah, I'm done. Like enough people, they go to the gym and say, oh, I worked out so hard and they barely even sweat. Like that's not a real workout. You got to be drenched in your t-shirt type thing if you really want to see the results. Like you're going to the gym for the year for a whole year, but you're your same weight and you said you want to lose weight. You didn't work out. You didn't do your best. You didn't go as hard as you think you could. Trust me, if you really want to see your full potential, like in the gym, get a trainer and watch how much they push you to get the results that you want. Keep a record of your weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Don't ignore them. Be prepared for them. The reason why you want to be prepared for them is because most people quit before they even start. So you must keep a record in place so that you can counteract them when it happens. For example, for me, it's public speaking. I suck at public speaking. If I know that's a weakness for me, how do I combat that? I prepare. I write my speech out. I practice in front of the accountability mirror. I get people to listen to me speak. Practice, practice. Practice makes progress. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress. We want to get better than the last time. They say be 1% better than yesterday. If you work on it little by little, guess what? You're going to get better eventually. Remove the government controlling your brain. Get to the point of where you're so tired and in pain, your mind is begging you to stop. And the government I'm talking about is your brain or your mind telling you like, yeah, quit, let's go. I'll lose count of the amount of times I told myself just stop. Like, nah, just keep going. Like, I'll have a shoulder pain and I was like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, I don't do it. The next day comes, I don't do it. The next day comes, I have something to do. And then one thing leads to another thing and it just keeps building up. Get it done. Don't stop when you're tired. Don't make excuses for yourself. If you have something to do, just get it done. Schedule your time. Schedule things. Far too often people say, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. If you schedule it, you're more likely to do it because you wrote it down. When we say, yeah, I want to go to the gym next week comes and guess what? You didn't go. Then a whole year goes by, you didn't go to the gym once, and you just wasted your money on a gym membership that you said you want to get back in shape, and guess what? You're still not in shape. Another thing that you can also try to do, it's a 3-week process. So what you're going to do in week 1, you're going to document everything you do, how long it takes you and what time. This is your foundation. You want to get better at controlling your mind? Set yourself up a schedule. You want to write down all the things that you do. And when I say all the things, I don't mean sitting there watching TV. That's not something you do. That's just to pass by time. You got work to do or things that are important to do. You need to write that stuff down so that you're able to execute. In week 2, you're going to create the best schedule. The best schedule is what you want your week to look like. Doesn't matter if things come into place or whatever. It's the fact that you wrote things down. It's gonna be tough because you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't get this done. What did I say earlier? Practice makes progress. That's the only way you're gonna get better. Yeah, there's gonna be hiccups. Some things happen. It's called life. But you gotta deal with that as it comes and don't worry about it. Make your plan of your day that helps you do everything that you want to do in the best way possible. Only work on one thing at a time, including mealtime, exercise, and rest. If 6 to 6:30 is when you have dinner, block that off. 6 to 6:30 is dinner time. Once week 2 has passed, just reevaluate and say to yourself, okay, I did pretty good this week. Um, Now let's see what I can tweak to make it a bit better, to have a better week than I had last week. And just keep that cycle going until you have that perfect schedule. It will take time, but if you put that work into it, you'll have the best schedule possible for yourself. Do more to be uncommon. If you think you have made it in life, think again. You will always need to find more. Life is a big learning game for us. Like it's not always going to be the same. And if you stop learning, you're pretty much dying. Like you need to keep continuously learning. Life is about just learning lessons and just continuing to be the best version of yourself. But if you don't continuously learn, you're dying. Nothing remains constant. so be prepared for change. To stand out amongst people, you must work really hard and chase your dreams for a very long time. A lot of successful people, they never talk about days, weeks, months, or a couple of years. They talk decades. They talk after they pass. Like, I think it's the Japanese culture. They plan for 100 years. Some of us are just thinking about what am I going to eat tomorrow? 100 years. Could you imagine thinking where I want my family to be in 100 years? That's crazy to me. And imagine how many of them are actually executing that stuff. I think a lot of them really have executed these plans because they planned it out and they stuck to the game plan. Like Warren Buffett when it came to the stock market. He said, I'm going to own XYZ company and I'm going to hold that forever. And look how much money the man's making now because he played the long game. So if you really want to get something, play the long game. Don't play the short game. Long game meaning 5, 10, 15, 30, 50 years from now. Continue to put obstacles in front of yourself to help you grow even stronger. If you're at the gym doing a 50 bench press for the last 3, 6 months, you're joking with your life. Like, come on. If you want to get bigger, stronger, better, you have to do more. You have to put more weights on there. Not just that. Same thing with like baking a cake. You're doing the 1 tier cakes. Come on, upgrade yourself. Try a 2 tier cake, a 3 tier cake. Maybe try doing the tips with the pipe bag. Like you gotta try new things. Don't keep it the same. Like you mastered it, move on. Add to that what you mastered now. Think of it as steps. There's levels to this. All right, I hit level 1. Let me get to the next level. All right, I'm at level 2 now. I got this in the trunk. I can use that when I need to. Failure is a stepping stone to future success. You're on the worst team, but you keep pushing yourself and your teammates to become better and better players day by day to where your failures of losing games turns into you guys winning games. Don't quit because you failed. Continue going. When you quit is when you failed. But if you fail and take what happened and improve it, you're just getting better and better. Don't listen to anyone that's not trying to do what you're doing or putting forth the effort to try. Far too often we're listening to people that say, "Hey, I want to do this, I want to do that," and they're not even putting in that effort or they're not even doing it. So it's like, why am I listening to you and you've never done this before? You got to ignore those type of people. Use failure to find success. Dissect it to figure out what went wrong and correct it. Self-talk is you lying to yourself. Self-improvement involves a cycle of trying and failing and then trying again, learning from each experience to improve. Put the actual work in for improvement. Stop competing with the world. Nobody cares as much as you do. I said it's you versus you. Don't worry what other people are doing. Do what's best for you. After action report. Another exercise for you that you can do. Write out all the good things that are a result of your failures. Be very detailed. Then write out how you handled your failures. Did it affect your life, relationship? If so, how so? How did you think through the preparation stage for and during the execution stage of your failure? You have to know how you are thinking at each step because it's all about your mindset. And that's where most people fall short. Go back through and make a list of all things you can fix. Schedule another attempt on your calendar. If the failure happened in childhood, still write out the report. You will be likely to use this information to achieve a goal going forward. The most important conversation you will have are the ones that you will have with yourself. We are all our worst haters and doubters. Self doubt is a natural reaction to a bold attempt to change our life for the better. You cannot stop it from popping up in your head, but you can neutralize it. What if is a polite way of saying F you to anyone who has doubted your greatness or stood in your way. It silences the negativity. It's a reminder of what you are capable of until you put everything on the line. It makes the impossible feel a bit possible. Accept it as a part of your history. You can use this as fuel when you're trying to accomplish something big. If you found value in this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button.